Hey, what's going on, folks? Welcome back to the Real Legend of Gaming. We are back with some Clash Royale, folks, and this time around we got a brand new deck that we have been using on the ladder, which has been doing amazing against those annoying decks. A lot of those decks was featured in Clash Royale's recent top 5 decks I hate. So this deck here will definitely get rid of those with no problem, but it will also help you gain trophies. I used it yesterday and I was able to gain about 300-400 trophies after, I tilted with another deck. So I was very happy about that, and it worked out very well. Now, before we go into that video, just want to give a special shout out to AEI Jerf. He created this awesome picture here with the Wizard versus the Ice Wizard. Looks pretty sick. Reminds me a lot of some like Mortal Kombat type of epic fights. So big shout out there. And as always, folks, I always look at the news inside of the Clash Royale in-game because it has some pretty cool stuff. And if you love Clash Royale, this is definitely a really good spot to hang out for a little bit and to watch what's content's on there. All right, so let's get into this deck, folks. So drop that intro. Alright, folks, here goes the deck. Now I want to quickly point out one thing. We recently got a Max Mega Minion. So shout out to DRL Nation. Those donations have been epic. Alright, so now let's get into what's in the deck, right? It's a 4.0 Elixir deck, right? But I'm telling you, it cycles very well in double Elixir time. For the most part, it is a control deck. You're going to be using the Knight as your main tank until double Elixir time, or unless somebody plays a Golem or a Mega Knight, then you feel free to use the Pekka, right? So in addition to this Pekka, we have the Baby Dragon, which will be great against Mega Minion Hordes, will help you against Barbarians. So it's a great card, and it also can serve as a tank as well. Then you have the Mega Minion, which I really believe belongs in every deck. Again, I call him the Meta Minion because he is amazing. This card is awesome. Can counter ground, air quickly with no problems. And even with the recent nerf, it's still a solid card. Then another card which recently had a balance change was the Lightning Spell, which is incredible. One of my favorite spells right now. With the buff, it is insane, and it really helps out when you're going up against decks that have either a Wizard and a Witch, a Wizard and an Executioner. You're able to do tower damage and take out 2 troops, so it's incredible. Then you have the Knight, which again is one of my favorite cheap tanks. The Musketeer, which is a very good overall card against both air and ground. And I added in the Cannon. I think the Cannon is going to make a climb in the meta. It's cheap, cycles well, and is very powerful. And if you look at this deck, part of the composition is similar to the 2.6 Hog deck, right? Because you have the Knight, the Musketeer, and the Cannon. And that's kind of where I got my inspiration from. But then I changed around the other cards. And then you got the Log, which is one of the most important spell cards in the game. At 2 Elixir, it really helps you out. It can also save you against those pesky bombers that have been returning to the meta. The Archers. And you guys already know it can be used against the Goblin Gang, the Princess, and any other spawner troops that are pretty, low rank. So now that we explained, the reasoning behind making this deck and the cards in it, let's check out 2 replays. These replays are great, and folks, like I said in previous videos, I'm not the best player. So if you have more skills than me or less skills, regardless of the fact, this deck works for everybody, right? We tested out in ladder to make sure that it works sufficiently, and I do recommend that you guys also try it out as well. So let's get into these highlights, folks. All right, so the first replay here, we're going up against a deck that has the Royal Giant at max level, Elite Barbs at max level, and it also has a Cannon, it has Fireball, and it has Minions. So right off the bat, Royal Giant is not a difficult card to defend against, but if you don't have the right cards in your hand, it will take you a while to rotate and be able to counter it. And in that time that you waste, it's going to do a lot of damage to the top. So you're able to support the Pekka with the Baby Dragon, and against the many hordes, Baby Dragon wrecks. Now, they did a good Fireball there, which I think the Fireball is really OP right now, but That seems to be an argument that no one is using anymore. So here we use the lock against those max level archers, so we do damage against them and the tower. Alright, so we are playing defense, we're waiting for the elixir count to build up. Now that we have an idea that they have an RG, we got to be a little bit more mindful not to overextend and also keep the right cards in order to defend against it. So this time around, we're going to use the knight and we're going to use the cannon instead. We'll spread them out a little bit further so that we can protect a little bit of the card in between, like we did right there. We use the baby dragon against that main board. And also, you're able to kind of predictive play against the opponent once you figure out what they're trying to do. So we did it with the minion horde, and they kind of did it with us with the cannon. There goes the lock again. We want to weaken those archers, the damage to the ice wizard as well. So at this point, the cannon can either do damage if it had a little bit more HP, or we'll let the archer tower do the rest. Ice wizard's not going to do a lot of damage, so you could take a hit or two from it. And again, we're using a knight. Notice that we're not using a Pekka. I want to save it either for double elixir time or for the RG. So since we have the knight already, play the cannon. That way the RG can focus on that instead of the tower. And now that we have double elixir time, we'll bring in the Pekka and we're going to support it with the baby dragon once again. And now, because we notice that the DaRealLegend is doing a lot of damage to the tower, we're bringing in Mega Minion. Kind of buying a little bit more time to the Pekka to the bridge. And now we're going to support the Pekka with the Musketeer. Musketeer is going to attack that ice wizard, they'll need fireball. Do not hit the Musketeer, so this Pekka is going to get the tower. No more hits, and we're good. Musketeer now locks in on the minions. We get that as well. We use the lightning on the cannon with the rest of the Musketeers. Kind of a waste, to be honest with you, but really wanted to make sure that cannon is out. Now we got the Pekka. Dropped out the cannon so that we can distract the Royal Giant. Save our tower from getting destroyed. The Pekka is doing damage. We are looking good now. Another fireball. Everything down to 19. They got a zap, so yes, they were able to get the tower if it wasn't for the Royal Giant. So we're not going to no longer push on the right hand side because for one, that push is over and we want to be able to adequately defend the other side. So we use the Pekka there, those maximum bars. To be honest with you, they can cause havoc in a hurry. Very dangerous. So now we just got to support our Pekka, get rid of those 3 elixir minions, and then we'll get rid of these archers. So now we're starting to push on the left hand side. We got the knight, we got the musketeer. We're going to bring in the baby dragon. There goes the elite bars. So we just wasted 6 elixir, another 3 minions. So now we drop down our Pekka. We're able to support the baby dragon, and we got the musketeer still chipping away without touch. We use the lightning spell to be able to clean up the mess. And at this point, we're just going to do damage to the tower because the Pekka is still tanking and is still going to get to the victory. You see, patience, remembering the opponent's patterns, and you're good. Let's get to the next replay. This replay is against a deck that I feel has really seen an uptick recently. It's the giant Sparky deck with the wizard. It is an old school combination, but what makes this deck even more dangerous is that it also has the graveyard. To make things even worse, it has the elite barbarian. So let's say you're trying to stop the graveyard giant Sparky push, they can just rush on the other lane with the elite barb. So it is a dangerous deck. So now that we know that we have to defend against the giant and the Sparky, we know that they move slowly, so we can go a push on the right hand side with the knight just so you can get chip damage in, and we'll defend with the cannon. Notice the giant is moving away. We're defending in the air with the baby dragon and the mega minion, so that allows us to be able to attack Sparky and also attack the wizard. We use the lock to get rid of the wizard completely, and now we drop down the knight because that graveyard can destroy us. We drop down the musketeer in the middle of the lane to the side so that we can kind of protect ourselves from a fireball in the event that we're going to throw it. It would have activated the king tower, gives us enough distance to test out the range of the musketeer to also clean up the mess that was at the bottom. Now we got to push on the left hand side with the musketeer and the knight. The knight is also very good at countering the elite barbs, and then we're bringing the cannon to clean up the rest. So we got rid of one elite barb with the archer tower. Now we got another elite barb doing some damage. We're okay. I'm not too worried about it. So now that the other tower has only 1100 HP, we have the baby dragon on the right hand side solely for doing chip damage against a tower. Instead, the opponent decides to play defense with the Sparky. We're going to take advantage of that. We used the lightning, we got rid of the tower, we got rid of the wizard, and we did a lot of damage to Sparky. Enough for the Mega Minion to swipe it away with one hit. So at this point, we're looking good. We got one tower. All we need to do is defend, and double elixir time is about to come up, so we can start playing Pekka even more. And we all know the Pekka will wreck the giant, and we'll be able to take a couple hits from Sparky. Now, why did they play the elixir collector? I'm not too sure. Obviously, they want to make up for the lost elixir and also cycle as much as they can. But at that point, we're going to take advantage of that. And notice that we created a big push on the left, but I still saved my knight. And I have the cannon. So that split the opposite lane push with the keyboard didn't work at all. We shut that down. Now we got the Pekka still tanking, Musketeer still rolling, tower down. So now we got 2 towers, they have none. So we're just going to defend. We know what they're trying to play now. We know that they're going to try to split lane push with the keyboards. We know that they're going to try to play Sparky Giant. We're good. This match is for us to lose. Play that. Drop down Pekka, keyboards, bye, cannon, split them up, game over. And that's how you use the deck, folks. That's pretty much it. This is the deck. Again, if you guys do not remember what it was, it happens, right? It has the Pekka, Baby Dragon, Mega Minion, Lightning, Knight, Musketeer, Cannon, and the Log. And that is the deck that I'm currently using in the ladder. And I'm having a great time using it because it does good against a lot of decks. Now, against Lava Loon, you obviously can use the Mega Minion and the Baby Dragon to defend, and the Musketeer. We saw how it does against tank decks. Against the Golem decks, you're going to use that cannon to kite it away, and then you got enough other cards to be able to wreck as well. Always important to remember that when playing against the Golem beatdown decks, they usually have a Witch or a Night Witch or a Wizard. So take those cards out first, because those are the cards that are actually going to do more damage to you, because they're doing a lot of attack damage without being hit. So they have a long life cycle in that sense. But other than that, folks, I appreciate the support always. I'm really grateful of everything you guys are doing for the channel. Appreciate the likes, the comments, the shares, all that stuff is great. And as far as my socials, please check me out on Twitter and Instagram to stay connected. That way you guys can know what's going on behind the scenes, what's coming soon to the channel. All right, so other than that, folks, peace out.